What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JBsports back again with another one. Yours truly got some news in regard to former WBC heavyweight champion Deontay, the Bronze Bomber Wilder. He's making plans to make a return to the square circle. The opponents that are being prominently mentioned are two. One is Robert Helenius, the other is Prince Charles Martin. Now, if he's successful in his next fight, the PBC, led by Al Haymon, is looking to set up a fight involving two of the top 5 heavyweights in the division, Deontay Wilder and Andy Ruiz. That's the plan. That's the master plan that Al Haymon is looking to put forth. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. Now, this Wednesday, the Bronze Bomber will be getting saluted. He will have a statue ceremony for him, for his greatness in that ring. What he's done to raise up the city of Tuscaloosa, as he is definitely the most famous boxer to ever fight out Tuscaloosa. I don't know the history of Tuscaloosas in their boxing, but I guarantee you he's the most famous, he's the most accomplished fighter to ever come out of Tuscaloosa. So they're having a statue ceremony this Wednesday for the Bronze Bomber. He getting his flowers while he's still alive. That's the problem with a lot of these people that come through boxing or any sport and show greatness and show it at a high level, show it for an extended period of time. They don't get their flowers while they're alive. It's actually when they step away from the sport, or even when they're 6 feet deep, they finally get their praise. They finally get the adulation. But I'm just happy that Deontay Wilder is getting the adulations. He's getting the flowers while he can still smell them. So I'm surely grateful for that. And we'll see what happens, and we will see what transpires. But Deontay Wilder, after that ceremony, has business to tend to. He still got a lot to do in the heavyweight division, in my opinion, because I still believe to this day that he's the number 2 heavyweight in the division. I know I have a lot of blowback from people saying, wait a minute, what about Alexander Usyk, unified heavyweight champion? What about AJ? Has the best resume in the heavyweight division, former unified heavyweight division. Never mind the fact that he lost to 2 underdogs. You know, he lost to 2 underdogs. You know what I'm saying? 2 huge underdogs. Andy Ruiz was a late replacement. He wasn't Buster Douglas underdog. What was Buster Douglas, Mike Tyson, 40-1? He wasn't that big underdog, but he was like, I think 16-1 underdog. Then he lost to Alexander Usyk, a guy coming up from cruiserweight, a very skillful fighter, but a guy that did not look that great against Derek Chisora, a.k.a. the stepping stone of the heavyweight division. He didn't look that great against old Dale Boy. I like Dale Boy, though. Dale Boy a good fighter, man. He's a good fighter. He did maximize the most out of his talent level, so I give him credit. I ain't gonna just say he's a stepping stone. I thought he won the Dillian White fight, and he gave Vitali Klitschko one of his toughest fights of his career. His style reminds me of old Joe Frazier, Bob and Weed style, as he's a kind of short for the heavyweight division, but he's able to kind of slip those jabs, get inside, and work the body, man. He just never had that power. If he had a little bit more power, he could have been real dangerous. That's the only thing that he's lacking, was the power. He's actually an underrated boxer as far as, you know, he's a short heavyweight, so he's not like he can fight on the outside and using the jab. He's got to get inside, and he's able to do that at a very efficient level, in my opinion, that being Dale Boy. He just did not have the power, and his chin is not that great either. I ain't saying his chin is bad as AJ or Dillian White, but he don't have a great chin, as he was knocked out by Dillian White, and he was dropped multiple times by Joseph Parker, and then he was knocked out by David Haye. So it is what it is. But Deontay Wilder will be gracing the square circle once again, and the opponents that are being mentioned again are Robert Helenius and Prince Charles Martin. You got to be there to see. Might be Prince. Prince didn't look that bad against Luis Ortiz. And Luis Ortiz is a guy that's getting ready to fight Andy Ruiz. The deal is all but done. They're dotting the I's, crossing the T's. And they're basically just trying to solidify the venue. I don't know if it's going to be in Las Vegas or LA, but it's going to be in one of those two places. They're trying to solidify the venue. And they're trying to solidify the date. It's definitely going to be in August. It's just a matter of what Saturday in August the fight's going to be. So we will see what happens. We will see what transpires. You know, the PBC, they're trying to finalize their summer schedule, their summer and fall schedule. Basically, pretty much their end of the year schedule. They're trying to finalize that. And not all the way to the end of the year. Like I said, they're looking to put Deontay Wilder and Andy Ruiz at the end of the year. Possibly, or maybe the first quarter of 2023. If I had to make an educated guess, I think if Andy Ruiz wins his next fight and Deontay Wilder wins his next fight, that fight will happen in the first quarter of 2023. I don't think it happens in the end of 2022, because I'm saying Andy Ruiz is going to come back in August. And as inactive as he's been, you think he's going to come back and fight in December or November or December? That quick? That's like a, what? September, October, November. Like a 3-month turnaround, he's going to come back. That means he probably got to take a week off or 2 weeks off and get right back into training, which might not be the worst thing for him. You know, he's a guy that, you know, you look at him. He's not the guy that's he's not a guy that comes in the ring in great shape. And that's being kind. So maybe that might be the best thing for them to do, to try to keep him focused on boxing. That's one of the good things about him, and what's enabled him to pull the upset victory over Anthony Joshua. He had just fought, Demetrico, that big old European heavyweight. He had just got through beating him, and then he took a couple of weeks off, and then he got the AJ fight, and he was able to get right back in training. Even though he's a late replacement, I think he got about, what, 2.5, 3 weeks to train for that fight. And like I said, he had just got through fighting Demetrico. So maybe that might not be the worst idea in the world. We will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. But he's got to beat Luis Ortiz. That is a true 50-50 fight. Both guys got weaknesses. Both guys got strength. Now, I believe Ortiz's weakness is he's a shot worn. He's not the same fighter he was. He's got a lot of tread off the tire. I don't think his legs are there anymore. And Charles Martin dropped him. I think Charles Martin dropped him 2 times in that fight. But he's able to set up a shot and get Charles Martin up out of there, as his technical skills are still there. His power is still there. I just think he just can't take the shots, being at the advanced age of at least 45. I don't know what his actual official age is, but he's definitely over 45. And I think his punch resistance is not like it was before. Now, he's been in the ring with Deontay Wilder twice, and that'll make your punch resistance less than what it was going into those fights. So that man might have played a part that in Father Time. But he does have, in my opinion, a technical advantage over Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz is the guy with the faster hands. He's got hand speed of a middleweight, but he did not look all that great against Chris Arreola. Chris Arreola dropped him twice. So he's shown to have a suspect chin. So that makes for a great, great true 50-50 fight. And this is going to boil down to which guy can enhance his strengths and minimize his weakness. And Danny Ruiz has got to enhance the speed advantage, and he's got to minimize him being chinny. Ortiz has got to maximize the technical skill advantage and minimize his punch resistance. That is not what it was earlier in his career. Again, just look at what Charles Martin did. You know, you can see Deontay Wilder, you know, with his power, you know, putting him down. But Prince Charles Martin, he's a good puncher, don't get me wrong, but he's not anywhere near the caliber of a Deontay Wilder, or even Anthony Joshua, or even a Dillian White, or even a Joseph Parker. He's not on that level. I don't even believe he got more power than Andy Ruiz, actually. But he was able to hurt and drop Luis Ortiz on multiple occasions. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. Let me know your thoughts about Deontay Wilder. Who you think he should fight next? You rather him fight Robert Helenius or Charles Martin? Don't text me another opponent. Oh, man, he should fight AJ, or he should fight Joseph Parker. Out of the 2 opponents that in all likelihood will be his next fight, who would you rather see him fight? Robert Helenius, who's coming off 2 back-to-back victories over Adam Kanaki. Now, Kanaki is a guy that's been prominently mentioned as a opponent of Derek Chisora. I don't see that fight happening. Yeah, no, Kanaki is advised by Al Heyman. Chisora is promoted by Eddie Hearn. That's all in water. They don't mix. I don't see that fight happening. I would love to see that fight happening because I think that's a very entertaining, fan-friendly, C-level matchup. I think you'll see maybe Derek Chisora against somebody like an Adam Babic or somebody like that, one of those domestic level heavyweights over there. You know, they'll put on an event because Derek Chisora, even though he's coming out for getting dominated by Joseph Parker, still sells over there in the UK, still has a big name over there. And I think he'll be fighting guys on that level in his next fight. So we will see what happens and we will see what transpires. Let me know your thoughts about Deontay Wilder's next fights and who you would like to see him fight, either Martin or Helenius. I think it's going to be Helenius. I think Helenius is going to be the likely opponent. But if Helenius asks for crazy money, then they'll go with Charles Martin. Charles Martin is definitely coming off a loss, probably would be a cheaper option. But Charles Martin, they just did a pay-per-view, but I don't, you know, what that pay-per-view do with him and Ortiz? What they do, 50,000 if that? So it ain't like he a pay-per-view draw. He's coming off a loss. Helenius coming off 2 wins over exciting heavyweight in Adam Kanaki. So I think if both guys are reasonable in their demands, I think Helenius will get the nod. You know, he was Deontay Wilder's sparring partner for the 3rd Tyson Fury fight. So they have a relationship. So that would be very, very interesting if he's able to get in the ring because he's probably learned some things sparring with Deontay, and I'm sure Deontay learned some things sparring with him. So that would be a very interesting matchup. Now, him and Charles Martin would be interesting because those guys should have fought 4 or 5 years ago when Charles Martin first won the IBF belt. They could have had a unification with 2 PBC fighters. He instead chose the money and the proposal of Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn wanted to get his star pupil, rising Olympian heavyweight by the name of Anthony Joshua, a title opportunity after only, 14, 15 fights, and get that fight over there in the UK. So he was able to entice Charles Martin with the money, and he went over there. And I ain't gonna, you know, people got to realize, going into that fight, that was a 50-50 fight. It wasn't like everybody like, oh, he's finna go over there and sell his belt. That was a 50-50 fight. But he went over there and got absolutely mollywopped. He got his hat brought to him. He got what you call dominated. He got dissected like a frog in biology class as AJ dropped him the first time, and he was basically a beaten man. The occasion got to him, the power of Anthony Joshua got to him, and he basically went into the fetal position and got stopped very early in that fight. But that fight could have happened back then, so that would still be an interesting fight. Charles Martin, even though he lost to Luis Ortiz, gave a good account of himself, so that'd be a good fight. So let me know your thoughts on who you'd like to see him fight. And let me know your thoughts about Adam Kanaki versus Derek Chisora. You think that fight actually going to go down? I don't. I think Chisora is going to fight a guy that's on that UK domestic level fighter that's been fighting over there under Matchroom Boxing. He's got several fighters over there. I think he'll probably be fighting one of those guys. We'll see what happens, and we will see what transpires. Follow me on Instagram, Gerard9707. Follow me on Facebook, Gerard Briscoe 3351. Follow me on Twitter, JBsports 3303. Like, share, and subscribe to JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend. And I'll holler.